Welcome back to Overlord Anime Review episode number 15. This one I am reviewing the 46th episode of the series, Frost Dragon Lord. This one adapts mostly of the last 70 pages of chapter 4 from book 11. There's still the epilogue that need to be adapted. I'm hoping, praying to God they might adapt this epilogue because this is a really good epilogue. It does focus on Karn Village. So basically, this one, well, they kind of continue not like the events of the last episode. So they go into the city and they divide into groups. Well, actually, first it started off with basically the quads, though they call them a different name in the book for some reason. Yes, though, lucky enough, it's just kind of dumb. They changed it. It's called the quads in the anime. Here it's basically pronounced a different name for some reason. So the guy who knocked on the Death Knights last episode talks to Clan Lord, basically tells them that what happened, and then of course we informed that, oh yeah, more people are coming. So, and of course they come with the genius idea, sick the dragons on them. Yes, dragons. Everybody thinking, it's about frickin' time we unleash dragons in this series. Because they mentioned them way back in season 1, and they made an appearance briefly in season 2 of the show, and actually it was just 1, and now we finally get a chance to see more than one dragon. These are frost dragons, mind you. Yes. So basically we have the clan leader talking to the king of the frost dragons, where he requests his help to deal with how awesome he is. Like, enough with the flattery, get what we want. Request your help deal with these possible dwarves and their allies, and we'll pay you. He's like, okay. Pay us 10 times as much. He's like, okay. Takes time, we'll pay that, and leave. And he basically asks his 3 wives, yes, these dragons that are there are his 3 wives, and he asks them the obvious question. Which child should I send? And the one sitting to his right suggests her oldest. And he's like, okay, so, but I can't click summon him because he's locked in his room. Why is he locked in his room? Well, he gets to his room, and there's actually a dialogue cut from here. Reminds about frost giants. Yes, frickin' frost giants. I mean, who would have thought they exist in Overlord? But okay, and about knowledge about them. He's like, oh, just knock it off. How does it help you in combat? So he goes out, takes his glasses, slips his tiny glasses, slips them under one of his scales. I'm like, that's actually a place to put him. And he's like sucking his stomach in because he's not a combat specialist. He's basically a reader, so he puts on weight. So then he sees a dwarf, a dark elf. He apparently does identify Sheltier as a vampire. And in case you're curious though, is like that in the book? Yes, and it's kind of the same thing when Sheltier and Aura meet up with a Quansard, where they apparently don't know her species. She's a freaking vampire. What, you can't see the freaking fangs poking out of her mouth? And there's a bit more here, but it doesn't really hurt cutting this. I think that in the case of so far, the only thing they cut here, I think that was kind of a mistake, was cut out the stuff with the frost giants. That would have been hilarious. It just felt really quick. Like, oh, break down a door with a tail whip. Yes, a freaking tail whip to break down a door. So he just easily submits to Ainz. And of course, Aura basically intimidates him too. And he ends up wetting himself. The expression is peeing his pants because he's scared. Yes. Though they do make a slight wording change here when it comes to, I know somebody whose pet dragon. No, in the book it was a poodle. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if that's the fault of Yin Press for that or the anime. But they changed from a poodle to a dragon. Well, apparently I'm doing that too. So he just easily submits, takes him straight to the. Now, I think in the case of the book, I think he said dragon lair. In the anime, he said dragon nest. I think in the case of that, that's fine of a change. I don't really have an issue with that at all. So, he brings me for his father. He introduces him. And then he proceeds to kill his father in sight with a grass heart technique. And of course, basically, he's able to. And of course, before he tells him, like, spare my mother, And of course, basically, all three claim to be his mother. Is like, okay, you birthed them, you take the egg, and okay, fine, I'll spare all three of you. Man, I only got one dragon body. They kind of lie now, basically scoring one dragon body, and everybody there. So they go inside the vault, which I use a special key. Which, by the way, he does use a key in the book, but don't give a description of what the thing looks like. So, given what you see in the anime, that's what presumably Ainz probably uses in the book too. So, I'm not faulting Madhouse for that. That's probably the fault of Soban or probably the original writer of the book. I fault them for that, for not giving an accurate description of what the heck the thing looks like. So they break in, of course, steal some stuff, and then there comes the dragons. Like, I'm the leader, and of course he kills one of the air dragons, and I'm probably like, nope. And that was pretty simple with that. And you have Shora and Saltier and Aura meet up with the Quatson, meet up with the clan leaders, like, oh yeah, we're here to subjugate you. We're going to say, we're going to basically shimmy you down from 60,000, yes, 60,000 of these things, to 10,000 to subject you. And he's like, I think it was like 6,000 men. I think it was like 6,000. I think it was like 2,000. I think it was like 2,000 children, 4,000 women. I think it was like 4,000. Like basically something equals 10,000. So they eliminate 50,000 in a matter of a few minutes. And he's like, "Send out my heroes." Get killed easily. And then they easily submit to Ainz. And now what happens next, they actually cut this scene here where the Dwarf Regional Council says, oh, that was quick. Yeah, they actually cut this scene out. It's actually just a couple pages. And then, of course, they cut straight to them having the dinner, which, by the way, the scene they cut took up 3 pages in the book. They cut straight to having dinner, and, of course, they help just celebrate. And then, of course, Ainz goes in the power room, meets up with Demiurge. Yes, Demiurge has a conversation with him about domination, stuff like that. And the episode ends pretty much at where the 4th chapter ends. Yes, that is actually the ending of the 4th chapter. So they did a pretty good job here. I think that, well, the cuts are minor at best. I think that aside, now, I would say probably the one thing, in my opinion, they should have kept in was the mention of the Frost Giants. That would have been basically, that would have been easily kept in. And a good bit of world building. But no, they probably cut that line due to time. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow that in a future episode of the series, maybe they cut back that dragon, or they probably have a director's cut of the episode and they include that mention of the Frost Giants. Yeah. Oh, by the way, this dragon, I think his name's Hendra, which they did not change his name in the book, which thank God for that. He is a fat dragon. Yeah, he's fat. Because he's not combat experienced. That's simply the reason for it. And he's like, oh, it's only special to me. Okay, perfectly fine. Yeah. He was a negotiator, not to freaking fight them. Yeah, he's more of a negotiator than basically a fighter, despite the fact he is technically a dragon. So, if you're going to blame the anime for basically quick fighting basically a freaking dragon, well, that's actually not the fault of the anime for that. That's actually the fault of the book, where it was just grasp the heart, squeeze, that was it. Really easily, and then do the same thing with another dragon. So, do not blame Madhouse for that, for this basically, this apparent going to be an epic fight scene between Ainz and a dragon. This is the person at fault. This book is the fault of that. So, if you want to blame somebody, blame the guy who wrote this. Don't blame Madhouse for it. That is just my opinion on the matter. And anybody else can probably have their own opinions. Like, oh, Overlord Madhouse could have a really cool fight scene that could happen in the book. That happened in the book. No, there was no epic fight scene. It was a quick one-shot kill. That was it. So, this is one of those cases where don't blame the studio, blame the original writer for stuff like this. And I keep going back to Goblin Slayer for this, because Goblin Slayer's first episode had a rape scene in the opening episode. And same thing happened with Skeleton Out of the World. People didn't like that scene? Fine. Don't blame the studio, blame the writer. That's the person you got blamed for that. They put it in there, and You could say, oh, maybe the anime studio could have skipped it. And my opinion is no, because it's part of the damn story. Simply put, that's basically what it is. So, don't blame the studio, blame the writer. Simple as that. Okay, so that's a particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow for basically a couple more Kamen Rider videos, because I think I'm probably going to finish our Kamen Rider tomorrow, Kamen Rider V3. And then we'll start with Flashman. And you might think, okay, what about Harem in the Labyrinth World? That probably won't happen tomorrow unless I have some time. Otherwise, I might say it for Friday at the latest. Yes. So, until the next video. Bye.